Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shadow bringing you guys another video. This time facing a Luffy. I believe this was round one of my day. I lost dice roll. They chose to go first, which is unfortunate for me. I want to take the first curve away from Luffy. So I open up with a stage, and then I end up opening up a Luffy as well. So I just established both on the field, and I'm gonna pitch a stronger. And look at top 3 with the stage and end up finding a Van Augur, which I figure is going to be good for reduction later on if I am able to establish, the 7 drop into a, Augur, or Augur to 7, or Laboon into 7 drop. What I really was hoping for was a Dock Q there to open up with the Dock Q, so whatever 4 drop he ends up playing, I'll be able to remove it. But you do see first life is in my era begins, which I am able to search, and I end up grabbing a Kuzan so that I am able to pitch the Van Augur and then bring it back the next turn with the Kuzan. So just trying to think a couple steps ahead. But this is where having that, first curve would have been good. Being able to search, establish Dock Q, and then a potential Van Augur. Going second, I'm basically banking on seeing a Laboon and Dock Q. So unfortunate, but you do see Zorodoro finds another Zorodoro, so we know he can search again the next turn. However, after this turn, we are going to have to start pitching for ability because they will be at potential Luffy Taro turn. So I swing for 5, they counter out with a 1k. End up pitching that Augur for stage. I look for something else that I could utilize. And I believe I end up grabbing a Burger. Yep, so Burgess is grabbed, which I could establish it this turn, but I end up using Finger Pistol, which is another form of removal that I do have. So am able to clear the board, unable to use Lafitte this turn, which kind of sucks, but it's okay. We'd rather keep the board clear. So, and again, this is why I added Finger Pistols back into the deck. A lot of 5 or less characters started roaming around, different deck spread than I thought. So we have a Dock Q in the trash. We also have 2 Van Augurs, so at this point we're going to want to establish some type of reduction for the next turn because I want to establish a 7 drop. They swing 5, I take it, trying to get some different options here, and here they establish a Sanji. So only way to be able to remove it at this point is with a stronger and another Finger Pistol. If not, this thing's pretty much staying on the field. So I start off with a Lafitte search, looking for I believe I was looking for reduction or anything that I could use, but ended up finding a 10 drop, which is good. Probably why I spread the down out to see how many turns away I am from 10 drop, especially since now I'm on curve, currently going second. Also still have stage for another search if I need to. But again, at this point, we need to basically start establishing for removal. You do see a Dock Q in my hand, so considered going a 6k swing. But before I do that, I do pitch a Lafitte for stage search again. And find a Myra, which again is just another form of digging in the deck. If not, it's going to be used for leader ability to pitch and turn off my opponent's on places. Again, at this point, every turn I'm going to have to use that ability and not give him a chance for removal. So he does counter with a 2k for Nosuke, and I do use the Myra begins to search. End up grabbing a stronger, which I'm going to need for removal. There's not much I can really do but set up. So you do see me place a Laboon. So at next turn, I'll be able to use Laboon into 7 drop to remove something. But it also depends on what he plays. Because at this point, going into late game, he's going to be able to start slamming down big bodies since, he was able to ramp at least once or twice. Twice. He ramped twice. So is at 9 drop range. And could establish the Secret Rush Luffy, which I believe is going to be this turn that he does establish it. But before that, he's going to swing 5 into the Lafitte, getting rid of my search, which is the right thing to do. But at this point, I don't think I'll be able to search because next turn I'm going to have to establish a 7 drop and the stronger that I just searched to be able to remove anything potential next turn. So swing 7, I do take it again, looking for something else, and here is that 9 drop Luffy. So at this point, in order to remove it, I'm going to need to utilize the stronger and the 7 cost teach, which I am on curve on 8, so I am able to utilize both this turn. So Laboon's going to bring it down to a 5 cost, and teach only pops a 3 or less, so that's where the stronger comes in play, which honestly I also was able to, because I do have a finger pistol in hand also. I could have done Laboon, minusing 4, finger pistol to Luffy, leaving me with, I believe, 4 extra Dawn, and I could have swung 9k into the Sanji, asking for a lot of counter. But at the same time, I also wanted to establish a body, that being the 7 cost teach. So could have went about it different ways. Maybe doing the finger pistol route could have been a little better, because then I would have held on to an extra card, which honestly you're going to see late game is what I needed, any type of removal. So I do use the strong, which is going to grab me another card, and it reduces the Luffy down, and I do pop it with the teach. So I do remove it off the field, and I do utilize my stage search to find another 2k counter, pitching that my era, and I'm going to pitch another card for leader ability. This turn, I do swing 5 as well also, so it potentially was bricked as well. However, we're kind of building board where we want to be at. Still not perfect though. He has essentially all 10 down, could place down another big body. Pluffies are currently also running Katakuri's, at least from what I've seen, which is what he's going to establish this turn. So it kind of skews what I really want to do. If anything, I need this Laboon to stick an extra turn. However, he is going to be able to poke 5, and I do counter out with a dot Q, and still has another swing for 7. However, I believe only 3 cards in hand. If I decide to protect it, it would require 3k, which we do know I have a 2k stronger and a 10 cost teach. I forget what the other card in my hand currently is, which looking at it probably isn't counter. So very unfortunate, Laboon is cleared. If it stuck around, could have established teach, did Laboon, teach, pop the Sanji, and then establish my 10 drop to negate the Katakuri to give myself a better fighting chance here. But yep, so you do see 10 drop getting established. Again, we do have a 2k counter, so I choose the Katakuri so he is unable to block. And at this point, I just start pressuring face here. So I swing for 5, gives me a counter, which is a Brulee, and I swing 8, and he gives me a Gum Gum Giant. So able to pitch a card, which is a 9 mom, and draw 2 cards. So able to hand filter, which is very good for him there. And I do pitch a Laboon, so not sure if that was my top draw, and if it wasn't, potentially just countering out with the 3 cards would have been better to save the Laboon, because at this point I would have been able to pop the Sanji, negate Katakuri, and then here potentially just block with my teach. So should have done that, but I would have been low on hand size, but would have probably just been a better position for myself. And then here he's just going to establish double Zoro, so opting to go wide, which is the correct thing to do here. You know, if I establish another 10 drop teach, at best I'm only able to negate 1 thing, and then he is going to have at least 4 swings this upcoming turn. So I'm not sitting in a really good spot right here. So I establish another 10 drop, again negate the Katakuri, and then I just swing face. So sitting at 1 life, double blocker. He has at best 4 swings. Really all comes down to just how he decides to swing here, and I could potentially get out of it. So he counters out with a 2k, and I swing 8. He takes that 1, and he triggers the Searcher, which is able to find a Heart Pirate, Straw Hat, or Kid Pirate. So lucky for him, and here he ends up finding a 2k Usahachi. So just more counter for him, which sucks for me. And I do pitch a Burgess, and I find a My Era Begins. And I just pitched the My Era Begins to negate the on plays for him this turn. Was looking for any type of option, mainly counter, to kind of just find a different, or at least more counter. I believe I have another 1k in hand. So here at this point, really just depends on how he swings here. I could potentially get out of, you know, a swing if again, depending on how he swings. I do have, I believe, 2 cards in hand, which is a total of 3k counter. Which here he swings 7k with just the Sanji, and I have to counter out here, because if not, the rest of the numbers that he swings with are going to be so much bigger. So right here, this kind of guarantees me at least one more turn, since I could block 2, or I take a life and block 2. But again, it just depends on how I decide to take it. So, and here he throws me for a curveball, definitely what he needed to do here. So he is going to use a Gamma Knife, which you're going to see in a second, which for 2 Don, -1, reduce something by, I believe, 6k, which is going to be what clears my teach. Let's see, I'm trying to look up this effect for Gamma Knife, because I believe it is 6k. Oh, 5k. So reduces the teach down to a 7k. And again, that's exactly what he needed there. So here he's going to end up swinging 7k with that Zoro there. And I'm going to believe I take this life, mainly to see what I could possibly get out of life. Because if he swings another 7, I could potentially counter out with this teach here. So as long as I have a 1k, I could block 1k out of the 7k swing. So, and then from the looks of it, it looks like I have absolutely no counter, which is unfortunate, because he ends up swinging 7k exactly again with the Luffy. And if I had a 1k, solid for me, but unfortunate, establishes another Onami blocker. And then at this point, I know it's game. I'm going to stage search, try to look for a black hole, because that is the only way out, and I do not find it. So I end up conceding because that is game. As always, if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you guys thought of the game, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.